Hello. Well, today I would love to talk to you about my first introduction to NIA. So, NIA again is the neuromuscular integrative action. It's a dance exercise. It's also called non impact aerobics, but I had no knowledge of this whatsoever in my life. And it was back in 2017, I had decided to do a life coaching course online. It was through Tony Robbins, and he just wowed me. So I did that for 6 months through the winter, and I swear I cried every single day. The stuff that came through, the lessons, the the amazing stories were just blowing my mind. So I thought maybe this is it. Maybe this can get me out of the mill. And this was before my accident, of course. And so I dove into that, and then when I was finishing, I thought I have to reach out to a few people that maybe counselors or something to start figuring out how to start a practice doing this life coaching. So I reached out to a good family friend of mine, and she actually told me about another lady who was a counselor that was not living in my town anymore, but she possibly would be someone to talk to. So I reached out to her, and she said, sure enough, she was not in the town I was at, but she was coming to do a workshop and that I should sign up for it. So I thought, you know what? Sure. I had no idea what I was getting into, but I signed up, and this happened in March, I believe. So I signed up, and it was a one-day workshop just for the day, and it was at a church hall. And so I got to the door, and the door opened, and this woman was just like, hi. And I was just taken aback, like, that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy directed straight at me. Whoa, back lady. So I was like, ee. And then I stepped into the room, and it was chairs all around the edges, maybe 30 chairs, 40 maybe, no, 30 I think. And a bunch of rocks in the center with tissue boxes. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? What did I get myself into? Like, what do they want me to cry or something? So I went and found a seat, and sat beside this lady that I sort of recognized. And we started this thing where there was 3 women that led it, and the first woman did counseling, and then the second lady did meditation, and the third lady got us up to dance a song. And I think it was meditation, counseling, song. And I guess what the idea was to drop in and then get a little bit of verbiage and then dance. Or maybe it was counseling, meditation, dance. I don't know. The dance was the third thing anyways, and it was a way for everybody to just let it go and to shake it off. And so this kept repeating and repeating, and the first couple of times I'm like, I have never done really any meditation, and it was just like sitting there doing nothing, so it didn't really do anything for me. And then the counseling, after about 2 or 3 times, was intriguing me, because there was a point where she said, okay, go sit with someone that you've never met before, and sit in your chairs, touching knees, and take your left eye and stare into their left eye for 5 minutes. And so it was like 5 minutes with a stranger. And so I did it with this lady, and we sat there and we stared, and it was like the amount of emotion and connection we had gotten so quickly was mind-blowing. And the only way I can say it is like we connected at the level of the soul. And when that happened, something switched in me, something sparked in me that was scary but intriguing. So then we got up and danced, and then we went again, another meditation, another counseling, and a few more went, and then the counseling was, okay, go across the room and find somebody. And now this time we're standing, and you are to approach someone as you would normally approach them. Hey, my name's Karen, how are you? And how you normally do it. And then she said, okay, now take a step back, and now go take all of your energy into your womb, and take all of it, everything you feel, everything you sense, everything you think, put it all down into your womb, and now approach them. And it was the craziest thing, but I took a step back, and then I took a step forward, and as soon as we did that, we were so vulnerable, and we were so open and so different, and we started crying, and we embraced. And the lady I did that with, I connect with her still every time I see her. We barely talk, but we connect at that level that's unexplainable with words. And so, every time we did these rounds, I got more attached to it and more in love with it. And when the third one came with the dance, I love dancing, and I was like ready for it, and I was like into it. And the lady that met me at the door was the one that led the dance, and I was getting more and more connected to her. I felt this draw and this kind of mix and mold of her and my energy, and I felt so connected to her. And so by the end, it was like 4 or 5 o'clock at night, 5 o'clock, I think. I didn't want it to end. I didn't want this magic, that whatever this was, to be finished. And so we were kind of saying goodbyes, and the room was full of, energy and laughter and connection. And I went up to her and I said, I need to connect with you beyond today. And so we exchanged Facebook pages right there and then. And it was crazy when I walked out the door, because I was a different person. I was changed in that 8 hours in a way that I didn't now know how to go back into my life as it was that morning. It was crazy. I didn't know what to do. I was walking the streets aimlessly. Like, how do I do this? So I thought to myself, the only thing I can do is reach out to this lady and connect with her and talk to her, and so I did that. And it turned out that summer she was having a workshop in her hometown. It's getting really windy, so that my phone's gonna fall. Yes, my daughter says I should get a tripod, and I agree. I need a tripod, because now I'm losing focus, because I need to make sure my phone doesn't fall. Anyway, so I connected with her. She had a workshop in the summer, and I said, I'm there. And it was a 14-hour drive, and I didn't care. It was the first time I was going to go on a road trip by myself, and I was going to see her. I needed to see her again. So it came to that time, and it was, I think, it was July, because it was 7/7/2017, so it's 3 sevens, and I was like, I'm such a numbers person, so I was totally in. So I show up at her doorstep, and she says, Karen, where's your paintbrushes and your canvas? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she said, Karen, it's a painting workshop. And I said, oh, I didn't come to paint, I came to see you. And so it was this running joke that I drove 14 hours just to see this woman, and that energy that she had, and we connected. It was just, I was so addicted to it and so needed more. So we did do some painting, but we also did some dancing, and we kind of would paint and then release and transition that way. And I said, what is this thing called? And she said, it's called NIA. So she gave me the link, and she told me a little bit about it. And I was staying at her house for the weekend, and I went up to the room and I looked up NIA, and it said NIA white belt training next summer, and it was at her house. So I was like, okay, It was like $1,600 American. It was so much money, but I was so sure that this was the answer, that I was doing it. So I signed up right away, and I went the whole year, just knowing I was going to go do this NIA white belt. And again, I showed up at her doorstep, and the instructor was there, and she said, "So you guys familiar with the 52 moves, and you kind of have an idea about NIA?" And I said, "No, I have no idea. I've never been to a class. I have no idea what it is, but I'm in." And so it was so funny because I don't know, I didn't research it. I just intuitively knew it was what I needed to do. So I didn't care. It felt good. It was right for me in my body, and I was doing it. So I said, I'm going to take my white belt and I'm going to pass it, and then I'm going to offer classes in 30 days. I'm going to learn a routine and I'm going to do this. And it was just like this knowing. And it was kind of a joke to some people because they thought, how do you do that? How do you just step into something like that without even researching, without practicing, I hadn't been to any classes, because nobody even knew what NIA was. Most people still don't know what NIA is, even 5 years later, and they just you just go. I just went with it. So I did that exactly. I graduated. I went home, and again, it must have been really difficult for my family because every time I went away to do some of these things, I was changed. I was like changed forever. And so I gave myself 30 days, and sure enough, by August 1st, I was offering classes to my local community. And it just continued like that, and I kept taking trainings and finding ways. And now I am a first degree black belt, and I still love it just as much as I loved it back then. And it's an honor to have this in my life and to have these people in my life that came through with this. So I don't know what that means yet. I've danced in temples in Thailand. I've danced on the beaches of Malaysia, Singapore, and it's just something that just feeds my soul. It's a healing modality that's body, mind, spirit, and it brings everything together, and it's healing, it's loving. It's a way that I can share my love without words. And that's kind of what I think drew me to it in the first place, because words were really difficult for me. Growing up, I got really quiet and I got really withdrawn. And so I still loved people, but I didn't want to say anything because words can get so twisted and turned compared to, what the person's perceiving at that moment, what they're thinking, what they're feeling. If that word had triggered them from past, from somebody hurtful or whatever it is. So I thought I can actually show people that I love them without words. So I did that, and it felt good, and it was received, and people see my joy when I dance. And as the years go, I get a little goofier and a little louder, and I talk more, and it's all kind of coming together so beautifully. And I've started to take classes as a student, which is also very important. I'm finding to do that, and I'm still loving it, and I'm growing with it, and I don't know where it's going to take me. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to find classes in Europe when I'm there, and maybe see on Christensen when I'm there. And I just want to keep expanding and looking for ways to heal and to share the love and share the healing and share the joy and dance. So it's like in my body, it's just like this thing that's, I don't know. It's just beautiful and wonderful, and I would love for all of you to experience it and share it. It's for any age, any size, any gender, anyone, literally anyone that's human that can step in, that chooses to step in, will benefit from this, guaranteed. You just gotta leave all the distractions behind and just come in with this open awareness that anything could happen, and it's beautiful. So anyways, I'm done with that for now. Thank you so much for listening to me again. And subscribe, like, share, comment, so I know you're there, anything. And hopefully I see you soon on the dance floor. If not here, you know, it's everyone has their own human experience, and I love you for who you choose to be. So take care. I love you all, and see you soon.